do this dungeon called the Stockades, and there were two people who were noobs. That's newbies, new people who don't really know how to play the game. And my current boyfriend, and I didn't know this. But anyway, the two new people started doing really badly, and they wiped our group, which means they got us all killed. So I started yelling at them in party chat. Things were getting pretty ugly, because they were yelling back at me, and I was yelling at them for being stupid and not knowing how to do their jobs. And my current boyfriend, Rich, whispered me, and that's private, like IM chat, nobody can see it, but you or the other person. And he whispered me, and he said, LOL, calm down. And I just said, you know, you're the only person besides me who knows even what they're doing. This is so stupid. So we left the group, and then he kept talking to me, and he said, so I bet you're a girl, huh? And I said, you know, how can you tell? Because of like my female avatar, like because the character I was playing was a female. And he said, no, because you were yelling at them, which I thought was pretty funny, because I was really grumpy. So, I mean, I'm sure anybody else who had been in the group thought I would have been super PMSy too. But he thought, so he figured out I was a girl, and he asked me how old I was, and I jokingly said 13. And he started laughing, but I had just turned 18, so then I told him the truth. And
there's just one girl I met. Her name is Steph. I met her. Let's see, when is this? I guess the summer before my last semester at Berkeley, so that would be summer of 2004. And like before that, I play this game by myself, like it's called soloing, where you don't party with anyone, you don't, like I didn't even join any guilds, so I didn't play with anyone, I just played myself, which you can do in this game, you know, and back then I enjoyed it, I could like spend hours doing it, you know, even though it was monotonous, I don't know, I just could keep going. But then one day in game, this random little character came up and said, you want to join the guild, and just started talking, and I said, oh, okay, sure, why not?
And we started talking, and the weird thing about MMORPGs is that they're it's like, it is different. It's like a method to get closer to someone. Like there is talking and on IM, and there's phone for when you can't see somebody, but an MMORPG, it almost brings you together closer in a way, because you're doing things together in game and running around, and you can see the other character running, so you know that there's a real person behind that controlling an avatar or character. So it is weird, and it is a little closer in a way than it would be just talking on the phone or something.
You're referring more to the sort of romantic sides. I mean, definitely you have good friendships that are developed just because people are working together that aren't necessarily romantic in nature. Like, we have plenty of people. I've met a lot of the people in the guild, and I do feel like I've formed quite good friendships with a lot of the people out here, you know, both because I've met them and because we've just spent a lot of time together, and I think we have a pretty good sense for, you know, our different personalities and things. But in terms of people who have sort of met each other in game and become, you know, sort of a little bit closer than that, I guess, I don't think there are too many examples from within Dead Moon. I do know they exist out there, certainly. It's I've seen it before in other games and things like EverQuest, for example. But usually it seems to just basically stem from for the same reasons that couples will spend time together in games. Those are the same reasons why people find it easy to sort of, get to know each other and basically spend time together, which is, I suppose, the most important aspect of forming any sort of relationship. I mean, obviously it's very different than something in person because, obviously you're not physically there together, and that's a pretty important component of it. But at the same time, I mean, it does provide an avenue for many of the important aspects of sort of building a relationship like that. And so even though it may not sort of provide a framework that can work in the very long term, it's certainly there are cases where people will, say, meet each other online for the first time, get a sense of what each other is like online, and then they'll take it from there.
Steph and I started talking. Like, we didn't play together or anything. Like, we just started talking in-game. Because, you know, you can just talk to each other. It's like instant messaging, except there's a game around it. Or like a chat room, except there's a game around it, basically. And we got pretty close, you know. Like, I guess we could say we became best friends. Talked about, you know, everything, anything, basically. Talked about her guy troubles. Most of the times I just listen. I didn't really. That's what I do. I listen. I don't really say that much. Yeah. So.
We like traded information about each other basically, and I don't really know what happened. We started to get closer. Like, we started using like in-game things like, hey, do you want to quest? Which questing is like little assignments that you get from random non-human characters around the World of Warcraft world, and you can do them with other people. So we kind of started using quests and dungeons as just like an excuse to talk to each other, which was, I think it was pretty interesting because I hadn't experienced anything like that before, like actually using the game as an excuse to talk to someone instead of using it for fun. So we started questing together a lot, and we started getting really close, and it was like there's always an underlying sense of embarrassment though. Like, I can't believe I'm getting close to somebody on the internet, on a game, nonetheless. So it is kind of embarrassing.
Currently, I don't play with her. As with, you know, any relationship, whether it's in-game or in real life, you know, stuff happens and things come up. And sometimes you have to, you know, part your ways. I still like to think we're friends, and I'm kind of in a transitional period right now with her. I haven't talked with her. I used to talk with her every day, which is, you might, that sounds a little obscure, like obscene, you know, talking with one person for an extended amount of time too, every day. And I was never a boyfriend or anything. Like, we were never together, or even in game we weren't like boyfriend. I mean, I married her in game, but that doesn't really mean anything because you could just be. There's a marriage in this game is just a lot of people would just marry because you get access to certain like special skills that only married people get, and it helps a lot when you're trying to kill monsters and you're trying to level. So that's the main reason why we married in game, and she married other people too. Like, in this game, you can have up to like 5 different characters. Well, not right now it's 7, but back then it was 5 different characters. So, you know, you can marry each one off to whoever you wanted to. And, you know, some in-game couples did that. Like, there are people in-game that they meet up online and they end up moving in with each other, or they start living together because, you know, a romance develops or whatever. And that happens. That happens in World of Warcraft too, I'm sure. So, yeah. But me and her were always just like, you know, friends and playing. I mean, we got close and stuff, but she lives in Tennessee, and I'm in Los Angeles, so that's really not gonna work. And I don't exactly want to move there, and I don't think she wants to move here or anything.